Interesting. It may even be an understatement the way things are going, but you're absolutely right.
All right, it's a very constantly evolving situation. By the time we're finished this recording, who knows if the situation is still the same, but it does seem as though we have a ceasefire, some rogue Iranian units still launching attacks at Arab states and Israel. Unclear if the Strait of Hormuz is open as we're speaking. But what's your read on what seems to be the status right now?
Well, the first thing, Michelle, I would say the ceasefire is a good thing. Let's stop, blowing up Dubai and Tel Aviv and Tehran, and so we'll see how it turns out. There's a lot on the table, a lot of uncertainty, of course. But the fact that there's a ceasefire, that by itself is a good thing, and the two sides are talking. Now, just to be clear on a couple of things, Iran and the United States have not actually spoken to each other. They're going through an intermediary, which is Pakistan, and the president of Pakistan, some of the military officials. That's fine, as long as that's a constructive role for Pakistan to play. Pakistan has pretty good relations with both sides, but the U.S. and Iran have still not spoken directly to each other. So I think that's important to bear in mind in terms of context. Now, we have a ceasefire. It was announced last night. Iran has put forward a 10-point plan, and I want to kind of go through. It's not a great length, but just in some detail to point out the fact that ceasefire is a good thing, but it's not much of a ceasefire in terms of how close the two sides are to each other. So Iran, they've disclosed their 10 points. They want guarantees that Iran will not be attacked again, permanent end to the war, not just a ceasefire, an end of Israeli strikes in Lebanon. They're aimed at Hezbollah, lifting of all U.S. sanctions, and an end to the fighting against Iranian allies. In other words, stop attacking the Houthis, Hezbollah, and Hamas for that matter. In return, Iran would open the Straits of Hormuz. They're going to charge a fee of $2 million per ship. That's what they said. That has changed already. Talked about that. Iran would share the fees with Oman. Oman's the Arab state on the other side of the Gulf. And Iran would provide safe passage to the Straits of Hormuz. And Iran would use the Hormuz fees for reconstruction to basically undo some of the war damage. Okay, so those are very explicit points. Now, what did Trump say? When Trump announced the ceasefire, he said the Straits of Hormuz will be open, free, not dangerous, no risk, etc. There will be an end to uranium enrichment by Iran, that Iran would surrender its highly enriched uranium. They're up to about 60%. You have to be 90% enriched uranium to have a bomb-grade material. But when you get to 60, it's actually not as difficult to get to 90. The hard part is kind of getting to 60 in the first place. Trump said that Iran and the U.S. might be joint toll collectors, that he actually said a joint venture with Iran, and we would both collect tolls, meaning the United States would get something, et cetera. So, and then Pete Hegseth said we have, not unconditional, but we've had a victory, a major victory. Reminded me of after we got to Baghdad in 2003 at the start of the Iraq War, they tore down the statue of Saddam Hussein, and George W. Bush went to a celebration of the aircraft carrier, and had a big banner that said "Mission Accomplished." And of course, that was just the beginning of 3 years of slaughter of Sunnis and Shia and Iraq falling apart, and a lot more fighting. So I'd be a little more careful, I think, if I were Pete Hegseth. My point, Michelle, is that here are the 10 Iranian points. Here is what Trump is saying. They don't match. They don't come close. Iran has not said we're going to give up enrichment. Iran has not said we're going to share fees with the United States. Iran has said Israel has to stop attacking Hezbollah. Israel said, no, we're going to keep attacking Hezbollah. We'll have a ceasefire with Iran, but not against Hezbollah. No one said anything about the Houthis, who control the entrance to the Red Sea on our side. My point is, we can go through this in a lot more detail. We don't have to, but my bigger point is Trump has a plan. Iran has a plan. They don't match. They don't sync up at all. So what are we going to talk about for the next 10 days or 2 weeks? Well, I think talks are good. I'm all for that. I'm all for the ceasefire. But it's kind of hard to be optimistic that they're actually going to resolve this.
So given, as you point out, that the two sides are so far apart, what is the likely next step in this dynamic?
Well, the next step is obviously they're talking, and again, whether U.S. and Iranian delegates get in a room or some medium, who knows? Like you say, they haven't done that yet. They're going through Pakistan. Now, Trump tends to rely on Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. These guys are, they're smart guys. They're deal makers. They're not diplomats. They don't really know what they're doing when it comes to the kind of diplomatic talks we're discussing. So, and they don't have a very high trust factor. The Witkoff, Kushner deal is they have a negotiation on a Thursday. They come out and say it went really well, and we're going to have a second round of talks on Monday. And then Friday we bomb them. We bomb the opponent. So they look like people setting up false expectations so we can bomb that, have the element of surprise attack. So if I were the Pakistanis or the Iranians or anybody, I wouldn't really trust these guys, and I don't think they really know what they're doing. Whether you want to get Rubio or J.D. Vance involved, that remains to be seen. Maybe J.D. Vance would be a good choice. So I guess my point is the two sides have stated their positions. They've not only stated their positions, they stated what they think the other side agreed to. Those two statements don't match. The two sides haven't agreed on anything except maybe to keep talking. Okay, that's good. I'm not, you pray for the best, but I'm not particularly optimistic that this is going to work out as either side may expect.
You mentioned Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense or Secretary of War, as it has been rebranded. And the administration is framing this as a victory, saying that the military objectives have been achieved, saying that they've successfully targeted the missile systems, degraded key infrastructure, successfully degraded the nuclear program. In fact, we have a clip of Secretary of War Pete Hegseth outlining the U.S. take on this. Let's take a listen to that.
President Trump forged this moment. Iran begged for this ceasefire, and we all know it. As the President truth this morning, a big day for world peace. Iran wants it to happen. They've had enough. Operation Epic Fury was a historic and overwhelming victory on the battlefield. A capital V military victory. By any measure, Epic Fury decimated Iran's military and rendered it combat ineffective for years to come. Together with our Israeli partners, America's military achieved every single objective, on plan, on schedule, exactly as laid out from day one. President Trump had the power to cripple Iran's entire economy in minutes, but he chose mercy. He spared those targets because Iran accepted the ceasefire under overwhelming pressure. They know this agreement means that they will never, ever possess a nuclear weapon. Under the terms, any nuclear material they should have will be removed. Any material, they should not have will be removed. Right now, the War Department, for now, has done its part. We stand ready in the background to ensure Iran upholds every reasonable term. Again, on the uranium, we're watching it. We know what they have, and they will give it up, and we'll get it, and we'll take it. If we have to, we can do it in any means necessary.
From your perspective, were those military objectives in fact achieved in a meaningful way? Has the United States successfully asserted military might, flexed its military muscles here?
No, that was pretty much pure propaganda, what Hegseth said. So, Michelle, to your question, have we achieved our military objectives? What were the military objectives? I mean, they never really articulated them at the beginning.
Objectively, to significantly downgrade missile capabilities. I believe that has been achieved. I'm not a national security analyst.
We destroyed a very high percentage of their missile launchers. They used up, or we destroyed a lot of missiles. The estimates are that they probably may still have a third of their missiles. They had 10,000 missiles. We probably destroyed 3 or 4,000. They expended or shot, several thousand. They probably have 3,000 left, so I don't think they're out. We destroyed a lot of launchers, but the launchers are mobile. They tend to be hidden. As far as air supremacy, tell that to the pilot of the F-15 who got shot down the other day. Why are there two kind of C-5A Galaxies burning in the desert? We don't know what happened there. We've seen the wreckage. We know that in that rescue, there was enormous amount of damage and wreckage done to U.S. equipment, to two C-5A Super Galaxies, helicopters, and other equipment. What was all that equipment doing there to rescue one pilot? I mean, I'm glad the pilot's safe. That's good news. But that's you don't need two Super Galaxies to get one pilot extracted. Something else was going on there. We don't know what it was. I don't know what it was, but it was a much bigger operation. Apparently ended disastrously. So we don't have the air supremacy that they claimed. We don't have all the missiles. They've got an almost unlimited, not literally unlimited, but quite large supply of drones that are continuing to do damage. So, and there's no regime change. Trump said there was regime change. Well, there was a leadership change. You have a new supreme leader and a new, apparently the speaker of the Iranian parliament is now taking a lead in these negotiations. You got new faces, but it's not a new regime. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard